I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. What's up? What's up? What's up? Just waiting on a couple more people, a couple more leaders, and we'll get started. Hey, I apologize if there was any mistakes, any problems with the link. This is a different link than we're typically sending out, but this is going to be the link for a lot of the new workshops. People can log in. It'll always be recorded. It's always going to be great. So we'll give it like a 2-minute warning for you guys. Stop.
Who's that? Oh, Erica.
He's a DJ. Let's play Kinetic.
Go DJ.
That's funny. Someone already said that. He's on my team.
Who are those girls?
They're just part of the team. Let's see. That's Erica. Erica's on our team, but she works from home only. Oh, Jesus.
Good morning, Blake.
How you doing, buddy?
All right, who are we missing? Is everybody on, Josh, for your managers? Because it looks like the only person is DQ that I was waiting on.
DQ Blizzard.
That handsome devil.
All right, we got Rebecca, we got Austin. Cool. All right, guys. All right. Can everybody hear me? Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Now listen, guys, you could probably finish my sentence when I say this, guys. But remember, note takers or what?
Money maker.
You got it. And then listen, knowledge isn't power, right? Knowledge is potential. It's the implementation that creates what?
Power.
You got it. So let's make sure we're implementing this stuff. Guys, we're talking about POS, and I can't help but to get excited about POS, Policy Owner Service. So please, guys, take good notes, okay? Make sure we're ready to rock. You guys are privileged. I'm privileged to be able to speak, honestly, to all of you guys. I'm privileged. I'm honored. I'm excited. So first things first, guys, I know it's hard getting on these calls in the morning. I know it's hard staying up late till 11 o'clock. Erica, let's go. It's hard busting your ass, getting told no. It's hard. It's hard hearing that shit. It's hard working the weekends when we want to see our kids. It's hard. You know what else is hard, though, guys? You know what else is hard? Being broke. That shit's hard, too. Living with regret. That shit hard as well.
Amen.
Okay? You got to pick your poison. You can either be depressed or exhausted. But at least when you're exhausted, you get results. Okay? So pick your poison, guys. There's two pains in life. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So we got to pick. We have to decide. And the great thing about us, the great thing about you guys is you have a decision. You have a choice. You guys on this call, you guys are the best of the best. I don't think there's anybody out there. It's like, honestly, you ever feel like you're at the right place at the right time? Because I always feel every single time when I'm on a workshop, I get so excited. I feel like I'm at the right place at the right time with the right people. Every single time. Every time. So pick your poison, guys. I know it's going to be hard, okay? But pick your heart. Let's go. First things first, guys, we're talking about POS. That doesn't stand for piece of shit. It's the complete opposite. It's Policy Owner Service. What gets me excited about this, guys, and what makes me want to take care of these people so much, like handle with care is the first thing I think of when I'm thinking about a POS. Handle with care. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be able to even touch these, have these, and even be in our lead pack, especially early in the game. It took me a while to get these, right? Because it takes a level of professionalism. It takes a level of knowing your product inside and out. Because when we're going over our products, you better be 110% on knowing exactly what we have. You have to be what's called the product knowledge expert, right? So we're talking about POS, policy owner service. Guys, we got to take such good care of these people, because here's the thing. This is where the renewals are coming from. These people have been paying for years and years and years, right? We have to understand that the renewals, these are somebody else's, some other agent's renewals. Somebody's renewals that are paying for their kids' college. Somebody's renewals that their mom went into the hospital and they were able to pay their hospital bills with. Guys, you got to understand and realize we can't just fuck around with POS. That's why they're not given to brand new people typically. Not that new people fuck around, but you have to have that level of professionalism, that level of, hey, I got to take this shit serious. There's no messing around with these, okay? I take them super serious, okay? And here's the thing, you know, Tommy did a really good job. It's funny because almost every workshop I mention this, but we got to get this, guys. They have to be sold on 3 things. They have to be sold on 3 things. Because last time I checked, Grant Cardone told me last night that in order for somebody to buy something off you, if they already have the product, they got to be sold first initially on the product that they bought years ago before they even think about buying anything additional. You have to be sold originally on what you originally purchased before making the decision. Because if they feel at all uneasy or upset about what they originally purchased, do you think they're going to make a decision or want to make another decision on upping something, especially through our company? So I can't emphasize enough, guys. They have to be sold on the 3 things. The first is you. Guys, this is where it comes with that product knowledge. You got to be the product knowledge expert. A sure way to gain confidence is to gain some knowledge, but implement that knowledge like we talked about. So be sold on you. You got to be sold that you're the best of the best. And I'm going to be able to go over the rate book, and it's going to give you the confidence, because confidence, all it is, guys, it's just gaining some reputation. That's all it is. If I handed Nolan a basketball and he's never played basketball in his entire life, hand him a basketball, right? He goes, I'm like, hey man, I want you to shoot 3s. I want you to shoot 10 of them. He's like, all right. Holding it all goofy. He's never played basketball in his entire life, right? Goes and shoots. It would be impossible for us to think that he's going to be able to make all 10. He might make 1, but he's not going to make all 10, right? Then let's say again, I pass him that rock again. This time he makes 2. Now his form's getting a little better. He's sticking his tongue out like MJ, right? He's gaining confidence. But here's what happens is sometimes we'll run POS, let's say, which we should never go 0 for 10 on POS. It will never happen. But sometimes in this business, people will go 0 for 10 and think, you know what? Maybe sales isn't for me. AIL, it's a scam. How realistic is it for us or Nolan to be able to have a basketball for the first time, never played basketball in his entire life, never even seen one of these things, him go 0 for 10 on shots he's never done, and that dictated the rest of his career in basketball? What sense would that make? How realistic is that? That's what people do at AIL. They go 0 for 10. They're like, you know what? This ain't for me. My trainer sucks, right? But I pass that rock again and again and again. Now he's getting his confidence. By the end of it, he's making 4 for 10. That's what it takes in this business. Confidence is repetition. Getting those reps in. They talk about situational awareness. This is how you get sold on yourself as well. Police officers use what's called situational awareness to proactively beat any objection or any form of crime that can enter the building or enter the situation. They are so proactive. They're trained on all this. We got to be trained proactively on all our products so that when they ask us, hey, I'll tell you what, what's the last year I can convert this term conversion over? You're not like, that's a good question. Let me ask my manager. How we present ourselves as like the managing director, as the, servicing manager. How bad does that lose your credibility if you got to second guess yourself? So if you second guess yourself, guess what they're going to do? They're going to second guess you. They're going to second guess you. You can't be iffy with your verbiage. You have to be spot on. That is 100% a universal policy. Here's how it works. Boom. Right? You got to be sold, but it takes the confidence, and confidence takes the reps. You got to be sold on yourself. You got to get these reps in. You got to get as much product knowledge as you can in, especially on our products. And then start to familiarize yourself with what insurance is supposed to cost. When we ask, all right, guys, I'll tell you what company is that with? State Farm? Oh, okay. How long ago did you get it? Oh, okay. How much is it worth? Oh, okay. How much are you paying for it? You know why we ask that, right? It's because we're supposed to be so familiarized with our policies and with how much insurance is supposed to cost that we are able to determine what they have with those 4 questions. I literally already know what they have from those 4 questions. They don't need to tell me if it's term or whole life or if it's universal. I already know. I know almost to the T. Matt Hunsberger called me the other day. He's like, dude, I was showing these policies for this family, and he was like, option C was like $200 and some dollars. I was like, $200 and some dollars. I was like, how old was he? I was like, dude, that can't be right. I was like, dude, it should have been $143. He's like, how the hell do you know that? I said, dude, check the app. I'm telling you. Dude, we found out he put tobacco, and that's why I was wrong. I fucking knew almost to the dollar, and he just came up with a random situation. Dude, you got to know the numbers. Plug in the numbers. I mean, dude, that takes that situational awareness we were just talking about. And I can talk about situational awareness for a long, long time, but it's how we use a proactive way to be able to beat anything that gets brought up. There's one proactive example right there. We asked those 4 questions so we can realize, hey, we should probably touch a little bit more on the universal drawing if I know they have a lot of policies. Guys, the other thing too, people are so scared to pitch people that have a bunch of policies. Dude, I love when people have a bunch of policies. You know why? Because they're bought into insurance. When people have 6, 7 policies, I'm like, let's go. They're obviously bought into this shit. They are the most sold. You know when somebody, okay, this is another good freaking hint, another good tip for a policy owner. When you see a policy owner paying $200 a month, $300 a month, I get excited. I actually prioritize the people that are paying more. Sounds fucking nuts, right? Because here's why. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I know we got females on the call. I know I got Matt Hunsberger. I think he's only 21 years old. No, I'm just kidding. So excuse my passion, right? I'm just really passionate about this. I like to scream a little bit and get everybody fucking amped up, okay? It's called emotional contagion. If I'm excited, you're going to be excited. Let's go. So if I get fired up, you're going to be fired up. If I'm moping around, guess what's going to happen? I'm robbing you of your dreams, your goals. You're going to start moping around the office, right? Let's go. So we got to have that product knowledge, guys. We got to look at this and be like, dude, if they're paying fucking $400 a month, guess what? I'm excited about that. Dude, I sat with somebody that was paying $400 a month. I'm thinking in my mind, dude, I almost sold myself. And that's where it comes to that internal objection versus external. I started selling myself, nah, this guy's paying too much, this, that, and another. And guess what happened? I fucking went in there with confidence. The dude ended up paying another $300. My dude's paying almost $700 for insurance. Do I feel bad? No. My dude had horses. He had this, he had that. My dude was spending a lot of money. You know how expensive a horse is, right? You know how expensive those animals are to upkeep? I didn't feel bad for a second. I didn't feel bad for a second. Told me he spent like $300 on tobacco. You think I'm worried about giving him another $300? You know what I'm more worried about? Someone that's paying $20 a month. Because I'm either thinking two things. One, the last agent might not have been that good. And yeah, I can clean it up, right? But man, maybe didn't really sell the company very well or something. But the second thing, and this is the real thing I'm thinking, is they're not bought into insurance. Anybody I see that has 5,000 and like $20 a month, I'm like, dude, like these people aren't bought in. Like there's one of two things that happen. They just, but usually we train pretty well. So usually our agents are pretty good. So I didn't really think of it as that. It's the second one. They're not bought in. They're like, I'm good with 5,000. My first POS sit I had with Sarah, this lady was like, dude, she had a term and had like no coverage. I'm like all excited. I'm like, this is a sale all day. What happened? She's like, oh, no. Actually, I like my coverage. I'm like creating a problem. And she's saying, no, I like my coverage. It was the weirdest. I've never seen this before on a POS. It's like a 99% closing ratio, especially if my ass is getting in front of them. And it literally, I couldn't close this lady. I couldn't get her to, it wouldn't make sense to her. But guess what? Even the best of the best, I get no, no one gets no. Guess what? We all get no. We just got to keep pushing forward because once you get a bunch of no's, guess what? There's a yes right around the corner. All right. So I'm sold on that shit. I'm fucking sold on that. I love when people are paying a lot, have a bunch of policies, but guess what? It's going to take that confidence. You got to be sold on yourself. You got to understand, you got to know your universal drawing. You got to understand the differences between term and whole life, the universal, flexible, variable, the adjustable. You got to know all this stuff. I hate to say it. Like I said in the beginning, it sucks. It's hard. But guess what? I would rather have the pain of knowing all this shit and exhausted and staying up till fucking 3 in the morning than going into a sit, not selling them, not protecting them. They die. And now I'm freaking upset and hurt because I didn't protect that family. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? So, guys, we got to be sold on ourselves. The next thing is we got to be sold on the company. Guys, we got the best of the best company in the freaking world. The best of the best. We got to be selling it like it's the best. Like Tommy said, there's no other agency in the world can say what we did. During a national scare, a freaking pandemic, our company has never done more than $7 million in a week. And the company did $9 million in a week. Guys, companies, they struggle to do $9 million in their whole career as a fucking company. The company did that in a week. During a pandemic, during a national scare, recession is what they called it. But this is called recession-proof, depression-proof, and bulletproof is what I call it, bulletproof. Come on. This company is unstoppable. There's nothing that can stop us. During the scare, we went virtual and got bigger. When people are going, you know what I mean? So this company is the best of the best. No grass is greener on the other side. You know what they say? They say, Grant Cardone says this, and Nolan mentioned this the other day, Nolan Cardone here, is that the only reason why people think that the grass is greener on the other side is guess what? It's because they're not taking care of the grass on their side. They're not taking care of this shit. Yeah, I feel bad for people that start quitting. Because once they quit one thing, guess what happens? They start quitting all the shit. Dude, you ever quit something once? Or let's say be late to school? You're like, oh my God, I was late to school. Then you're late again. You're like, oh my God. Then you're late again. Then you're late again. Then you're late again. Then you're like, who gives a fuck anymore? I'm late all the time. Who cares? You ever have a fight with a girlfriend? Oh my God, we had a first fight. Then you have another fight. And then you're like, then now you're freaking fighting like cats and dogs left and right. Now it's just comfortability. It's cool. Right? So get this, guys. Get this. This is the shit. This is the sauce. Okay? The third thing they got to be sold on is guess what? The products. That's what goes back to knowing your products. Knowing your products. How can we sell something that we aren't 100% sold on because we don't even know about it? You know how to get really sold on the products is knowing how freaking valuable our products are. Guys, we carry 100% whole life. We have term. Guess what? Our term is literally renewable and convertible. You basically might call it a whole life that doesn't build cash value because you can be protected forever. You know what's crazy? Is if you, and this is sick, I do this all the time. If you have a term and that term has a waiver of premium on it, you know what's freaking crazy about our company and how sick our company is? How awesome? Is if you have a waiver of premium attached to it and the client becomes disabled, what happens is they will automatically convert it over into whole life and they don't have to pay the premiums. I bet you know, I mean, I'm not knocking on anybody, but I didn't know that for like the first 2 years. I had to find that out through home office. Dude, that's fucking fire. You know what else is sick about our company? If you have that waiver of premium, we should be attaching on every policy. If you have that waiver of premium, I bet you no one knows this because it took me calling home office for an hour and finding this out. If they have a waiver of premium on a policy, Ashley, okay, what happens is when you have a policy and it has a waiver of premium on it, if they have their premiums being waived, freezing up a little bit. All right, should be back. Now, if they have that waiver of premium, they become disabled, waive their premiums, do they still build cash value? I thought no, because no one's paying for the policy, but guess what? It's still building cash value. That shit's crazy. That's insane. It still builds cash value because you know why? The company's taking care of it for the client. The company is taking care of it for the client. Guys, I've seen it where, you know, it should have been, man, the company should just keep this payout. The dude lied on the app. And somehow, some way, the company turns and goes to the customer. I've seen it happen every time. I'm like, dude, there's no way that, you know, I can see like the factual information that this wasn't a good claim. He got fired. Why would he be getting that layoff waiver? They're like, yeah, dude, we'll give it to you. Dude, the company always does what's best for the client, right? Always. You know that saying that the client's always right? Well, guess what? The client's not always right. But with our company, they always take pride in taking the client's side every single time. Every time. So I can't emphasize enough, guys. I can't emphasize enough. You got to be sold on those 3 areas because you're going to be able to beat these internal objections. Like when I thought someone paying $300 a month was too much and I couldn't sell them more. Yeah, on a hard card, it is easier to go from 0 to 300 than from 300 to 500. But that's the mindset of a scarcity mindset of people that aren't thinking big enough. Okay? Aren't thinking big enough. Now, remember, be sold on those 3 areas because they got to be sold originally on what they bought. Okay? This is huge, guys, with policies. And I'm trying to do different shit than what Tommy already went over. Tommy did a whole workshop on POS. I'm trying to do something totally different than what he did or what Josh did, right? But I'm still going to go over term conversion because I feel like that's so vitally important. Okay? And the way I do it and the way that Simon taught me how to do it. Okay? But real quick, before we go over that, guys, there's this thing. It's called being even-handed. Okay? You know the pitch, guys. We all do the same damn pitch, right? Some people say it with a little bit more conviction. Some people add a couple extra fluff. But that pitch for a POS, right, is a little bit quicker. It's a little bit quicker. We still have to sell, right? Sell ourselves. We still have to gain the control, build the rapport, right? We have to, you know, give a little introduction of the company. We have to review the term the whole life. One thing I don't do is if they say, well, Gio, what kind of policy do I have? Oh, I'll tell you what, I didn't even look at your paperwork yet. I'll be able to pull it up for you. I'll be able to go over that toward the end. Now, this might go against some people, what people say, but this is the shit. You know why? Because they're wanting to know their coverage the whole time. Why would I tell them the ending of a movie in the middle of the presentation or the middle of the movie? Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll be able to go over that here in a second. I didn't even pull over your paperwork just yet. I'll be able to pull up that. But before I do that, I got to make sure we're on the same page. There's 48 different types of life insurance out there. I'm going to go over all 48 with you, right? I'm just kidding. I'd be missing my next members. Now, they all break down to term and whole life. Does that sound familiar? I don't care what they say. Oh, I've been through this. Okay, great. I'll tell you what. I'll be able to sum it up a little bit quicker and give you like a synopsis version of it. Okay, so term, right? I'm still going over it. Don't tell them what they got in the beginning. You're going to lose them. You know what? Through these virtuals, I'm starting to think that I shouldn't have them grab their folder, because in person, we can grab their folder and put it right here. But now we're grabbing folders and they're like messing with it. Hey, I tell you what, put that aside. Dude, it doesn't matter. If they ask you what kind of policy they have, they're going to try and look. They're going to get confused. Wait, I have term? You told me I had whole life. They told me it's a big thing. I might even just tell them, like, hey, don't even grab the folder. I don't want you being distracted. I need you to take notes right now. I need you to take notes. This shit's important, right? So I don't tell them what their policies are to the very end. And what I do is I always do a needs analysis. And what we're doing, literally the gist of a policy owner is we're actually doing a needs analysis, and we're going to determine if there was any of the gaps that we might have missed from last time. But you got to separate yourself. Guys, they might have been seen multiple times. What's going to separate you from them? What's going to separate you from any other union benefits representative that's been out there? Guys, quick little tip. This is the fucking sauce. Quick little tip. You sit with somebody, guess what? And they say, man, every time through the company, I always see someone different. Why is that? Right? You got to cover up the company because maybe that last agent left. You never say, oh, well, yeah, Jimmy, he's actually not with the company anymore. Never say that shit. Never. How bad of the credibility you think that saying that the last person that was here sucked at their job, they didn't get you the right coverage, they're not here anymore. You think that's a good thing? Dude, that loses all credibility in the company. So what I say is, yeah, Joe and Mary, to be honest with you, you know, a lot of times with our guys and girls, we work with so many different areas. They're in area per area. We want to make sure our guys are taking care of all the union members. But usually what we do, guys, is we usually put a really big policy on the agent that was here last time, and we just kill them off. No, I'm just kidding. Right? I say that, and they laugh. No, I'm like, no, I'm just kidding, to be honest with you, right? So always crack that joke. Yeah, no problem. I know you haven't really seen it, or you haven't seen the same person. There's actually good reason for that, guys. What we usually do as a company, we usually put a really big policy on them, and then we just kill them off. No, I'm just kidding, guys, right? They're going to laugh. Then you say the real reason. No, but really, guys, no, we work so many different areas. There's 40,000 groups and unions that we're working with. So we want to make sure my guys or girls, you know why I say my guys? I always ask them, how did one of my guys or girls do for you? Why am I saying that? Because it looks like I'm the boss. How did one of my guys or girls do for you? I did good. Yo, if there's a problem, take care of that problem because you're protecting that person's renewals. There's a problem. You need to be the ultimate customer service. Don't just avoid it. Dude, I literally sat down with somebody they hated the last, I don't know what happened exactly, but they just fucking hated the dude. And let's just call it what it is. Customers make shit up anyways. Dude probably didn't even do anything. Dude, that 3750 ALP deal I got, I sent it in my group, the people were talking, I said, which option makes the most sense to you? Which one's going to fit your need the best? I get out of the screen, they're talking fucking Russian to each other. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, there's no way I can hear what they're saying. They're smart. They didn't even have to mute me. They just talking Russian to each other, right? So those people were a POS, and they were actually upset with the last agent, and I had to cover it up. So it's called being even-handed is what it's called. It's called, if you're taking notes, it's called being even-handed. Okay? Always cover up the company. Always cover up the agent that was out there. Hey, I'll tell you what, you know, we're very, very selective on who we hire onto the company. I'm sure what he meant, right, was this. And it's okay because that coverage back then, guys, accidental in your 20s, that's amazing. That's good. I would have got the same policy. Okay. But let's just call it what it is, Joe. If I were to die in my age group, what do you think it'd be? Be in an accident, right? Now, I always ask them, do you think it'd be a heart attack, stroke, cancer, or an accident? When I make them answer, they say accident. And I said, okay, exactly. Now, here's the thing. As we get older, starts to be a little less accident. Now it's more what? Heart attack, stroke. Yeah. Now people aren't kicking me out of the house anymore. Now they're like, you know what? That makes sense. I got it 20 years ago because there was a lot of accidental. Statistically speaking, if I were to die, it probably would have been an accident. Now, as I got older, it's called a negative correlation. So one goes up, the other goes down. Now it basically correlates negatively. So now we got to make sure, guys, nothing wrong you did. You did a great job. Awesome job. It's the same policy I would have got. Same policy most of our members have, to be honest with you. But the only concern, the only problem is now we got to make sure we get the whole life. That is the only thing they're looking at over at the union. Okay, so as much as we need that whole life, as much as I want to catch you up with all the other members, I got to ask you some questions just to see if we can qualify. Now, Joe, and I go right into it. They got to understand what they have first, though. You got to make sure that these people understand what they have first before you present them additional stuff. Don't just skip what they have. At the end, plug in what they have into the needs and figure out if they got 30 grand, they need 100. Well, guess what? They need an additional 70. Now, sometimes I tell them, hey, you know, you probably just got your foot in the door, right? That's exactly why they sent me out here, to finalize your policy. Just giving you my sauce away. It's the shit I say all the time. I'm here to finalize your policy. So, and I tell them too, I say, once you see me, I tell them straight up, I'm like, I'm going to be the last person that takes care of you. You know why? Because I know when they're done with me, they're going to be paying $400 a month and they're going to be covered. Now, if you're putting $20 a month additional, accidental or something stupid like that, nothing against paid up options, but like, guys, we're just getting them a little bit more coverage, and paid up's really good. I do like paid up. I used to sell some big checks. You're going to do it big. It's not about the paycheck you get. It's about protecting them with a lot of coverage, making it make sense to them. But you got to be even-handed. Never beat up the last person. Say, hey, listen, no, he did a great job. Nothing wrong he did. Nothing wrong you did. You did a phenomenal job. Okay? But the concern is, and then go into the rebuttal. The other thing, it's called lying by omission. Lying by omission. Okay? I didn't know what this was before I heard it. I was like, what the hell is that? But what it means, it sounds very obvious, but you got to be honest. And lying by omission is knowing something. Like, for instance, if you know they have a 10-year term and they ask you, well, when does this term go up? And you're like, well, it's a term, so it's going to go up really soon. So what we need, you didn't answer their question. You're trying to pussyfoot around. Dude, if you got to do that in the close, you're not a good closer. If you have to lie to people to close, that's a bunch of bullshit. Tell them what's up and tell them how we're going to help them today. You don't lie to them. And it might be something simple like that. Like, we're not really lying, but we're not giving the full statement, the full truth. Okay? Become such a good closer that you just tell them what's up. You tell them, hey, we're here for insurance. We're going to enroll you into your permanent additional benefits. Hey, we're here to finalize your policy. We're going to get everything squared away today. That way we don't have to worry about this tomorrow. Okay? Lying by omission. Make sure we're honest with everything they ask. Now, real quick, guys, I'm going to be able to pull up the rate book here. Let me see if I got it pulled up, because I want to go over a little bit of term conversion real quick with you in the small amount of time we have, and make sure that we're on point with this stuff. Now, with the term conversion, I'm going to just pull up an example as well of the sale I made the other day. That was that was like 4,000 ALP, so not too bad. And I don't mean to say that to brag or boast, but to encourage you that it's really not that hard. This deal is it's not easy, but it's simple. It's very simple. So let me share the screen here so you can see this. This was, well, it was him. It was a husband, wife, right? Now check this out, guys. Can you guys see my screen perfectly? You might need 20/10 vision to see this, but let me bump it up a little bit. It's freezing. All right. Give it a second. All right. Can you guys see that okay? Is that all right? Thumbs up? Okay, cool. So this person, okay, do you see that little WL and that FN? That stands for whole life, regular, female, non-tobacco user. So get familiarized with the terminology. I'm going to go over the rate book here in a second quickly with you. And if you look at the first couple pages of the rate book, if you look right here, guys, I'll just show you right here. Look at this. Look at this. You have abbreviations of everything. Guys, you want to know everything? It's all in the rate book. You want to know how our products work? Every single product that we carry is right in the rate book. Dude, look at this. If you go to, there's plan descriptions on page 4 and 5. You can literally, if you want to know what a GIO is, a guaranteed insurability option, it's right in there. And then here's the thing. There's 6 different times that people can up it by 25,000 in their lifetime. What are the ages? You got to know. Look, it's 25, 28, 31, 34, 37, 40. They can't do it whenever. You got to know this stuff, though. Right? You got to tell them the correct things. You got to understand it. You got to know this shit front and back. Okay? So you'll know, like, when a term ends, things of that sort. So if you go back to I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here, just so you know, it's all in the rate book, though. Everybody should have a rate book. If they don't, then I will email it to you because we have the electronic version. Now, there's abbreviations. So you'll know, like, term ill. Guys, if you show them this, they're like, wait a second, do I have a term? You got to tell them that's a terminal illness rider. You got to know how this thing works. God forbid they get conditionally sick, terminally ill. They can have half of their insurance up front. Why? To pay for medical bills. Try selling this. It's free. Terminal illness is free. They got to qualify. It's not free because you pay for life insurance, not with your money. You pay for it with your health and your age. So it's not free, but in cost, it's free. In value, there's no price. It's priceless. So 15,000, okay, it says 15 grand, right? They're able to take half of that if they were terminally ill to pay for what? Pay for medical bills. Maybe they want to go on that last vacation. And they're like, you know what, dude, I have cancer. I've always wanted to go to Alaska. I always wanted to go to freaking Cali. I always wanted to go to Miami. I don't know. I always want to go to Hawaii. And they can take $7 grand and go on a quick vacation. Then when they die, the rest pays out. That's a phenomenal tool that we have, guys, and it's no cost, right? But invaluable. It's valuable. So GIO, right? There's the guaranteed insurability option. You see that. ADB, that's accidental death benefit. Now, guys, when they die, it pays $50,000 on top of the 15. But right here, this is the STRC10FN. It sounds confusing, right? But all it is a renewable and convertible 10-year female non-smoker term. It's a renewal. If you see the R and C, that means it's what's called renewable and convertible. Renewable means they can renew it without qualifying. Guys, most companies after 10 years, guess what? You got to renew it. So you pay more, and guess what else? You got to requalify. Our company, you don't even have to requalify every 10 years. It qualifies the day that you get it. It's also what's called convertible. That means that they can convert it into whole life, and they don't have to prove insurability. They don't have to qualify. That's huge, huge. Now, here's the thing. Guess what? They got $84,000. A lot of us might not know this, but be careful. If they can't qualify, they can only do up to the face amount of the term. They can't just put 100,000, convert it into 100,000. If they can't qualify, they can do up to 84,000. That means they can convert over 50 of it. Now they can convert over 50,000 of it, and they can drop the rest, or they can convert over 50 of it and keep the rest. I've done both, but typically what I do and this is what's going to change your game. Term conversion. It's like 100% closing ratio. Really, really high. Really, really high. Okay? What happens is a rookie, and even myself, a long time ago, I can't stand this, but we can't do this, is if they got 84,000, you think I showed them options for option A was 84,000, option B was 50,000, option C was 30,000? Why would I go with a lower option? I might as well just have them keep the 84,000 of term. Because if I'm going to go, 20,000 or 10,000 whole life, I'm actually doing their family a disservice because they should have just kept the 84,000. So here's what I do. Guys, my first option, maybe 300K. Option B, so it's converting over the 84,000 plus adding 220 grand, 216 grand. Option B is like 200 and some. I'm adding 116 grand and converting over their 84,000. Okay? The other thing is option C is literally the bare minimum. Option C is converting over. But the mistake we make is we do 84,000 converting over as option A. That we can't do that. It's like such a pet peeve of mine. If I see someone convert over 30 grand, I'm like, dude, I get so mad. I'm like, bro, you literally converted over 30 grand. They had 84. What are you doing? I'm like pissed off at this point. We're hurting ourselves. We're hurting our family. We're hurting their family, right? You got to convert over more. Dude, what I converted over is 250K each. They had 84. I got them 250 whole life. Slam dunk. Okay, here's how we figure out the math here real quick, because I got to be quick here. Let me share the screen. Okay, so wait for it to load here. All right, guys, now here's the thing. Okay, so they will still pay for the whole life. They're not going to cancel their original 15,000 whole life. That's good. They keep that. So when you show them options, you need to make them realize you're still going to pay 215 annually for the whole life and for the GIO and for the ADB. You're keeping that stuff. You're not canceling that. Okay. What you're going to do, here's the difference. Let's say you sold them $200 a month. Okay. 200 times that by 12. Okay. I'm going to do this real slow. Okay. If you sell them for $200 a month, 2,400, what you have to do is subtract this 288, and that's your ALP. And that's actually how much they're paying too. You got to subtract this. It's not this plus this 288. So if they're paying all right, let's do some math here. 288.96 divided by 12. Okay, so they are currently paying $24 for their term, the 84,000. If I sell them for 200, someone answer for me, please. Is it 200 plus the $24, or is it 200 minus the $24? Who can answer it? Come on.
Would it be neither?
Good question.
Minus.
Good question. It is minus. It is minus. Okay. So you're not wrong though, Blake, because neither, you're probably looking at the whole life. Remember, they're keeping the whole life. So it's going to be 200 plus their original whole life. You do not count the term. They are no longer paying for the term. Okay. So they're no longer paying for the term. Now the term is converted. Now they're paying the $200 for the whole life. Okay. So get really good with the math on this. Okay. Get really good with the math on this. You always want to make them understand that what they're able to do is they're able to, like I said, convert over up to the amount. If they can qualify, they can do more than the amount. All right, guys. Now, does that make sense? Do you have any questions on that aspect of it, or questions regarding this? Because I know in the beginning it was more, the information that we need to know for the policy owner, things of that sort. But this is like more numbers, and this, it's going to take a little bit of practice. One time of going over it, you're not going to know it 100%. But do you have any questions on this? when we're converting. Do we have any questions on this? All right, perfect. When we got to get the numbers down, you know, when you're running POS, you're going to run a term conversion. There's no way around it. And the other thing that I want to leave you with, it has to be done on a paper application. Okay, so here's what you'll need. You'll need a paper application. Okay, I have one in every single folder. I have pre-made folders. Make sure it says Illinois at the bottom. Some of us PA guys, we still got PA. So make sure it says Illinois at the bottom. It's very vital. All right. So you need a paper app. If you're doing an oral specimen, then you need an HIV consent form. Okay. You also need a HIPAA form. A HIPAA form. I always throw in a PSR form just to make sure there's no errors. PSR form. And then the last thing is a batch transmittal sheet. Get with your managers on the paperwork, but make sure you have that written down, a batch transmittal sheet. Okay?
I got a question.
Yes.
Why does I don't know if you know why do they make us get the HIPAA signed if unless you're putting additional on the term, like why, if it's just converting, why do they make us get the HIPAA?
Good question. That brings me up towards something else because I know you got to pop off. If they were rated back then, when they converted over, a lot of us, I bet you don't know this, but when you convert it over, it'll actually bring the rating over as well. So they're still going to check so if they got rated like for their whole life, when you convert it over, it's going to actually bring over that rating. So they check, you know, the medical records, things of that sort, make sure. Very good question. Very good question. Plus, if you're going to do additional 250,000, they got to qualify for the additional. Okay. So always get a HIPAA. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate your time. Hey, Mike Clemente, he's fiery. He taught me a lot in the game. I'm upset I can't miss it. All right, I'm upset I can't be on it. To be honest with you, I'm going to miss it. But I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys. Hopefully we gave you some fire today. And let's hear some fire from Clemente. Let's get it. Love you guys. Thanks.